For this starting lineup, I wasn't surprised and I was actually kind of excited about it. I think Vlatko giving Jessica McDonald and Lynn Williams the opportunity to play against Canada in a final up top is really important for them and for their confidence and for their development. Now, I think, like I'll explain later on, that Lynn had a better game, but I think it gave both of them a fair opportunity. You can't complain. You were given your chance. Christen Press obviously starting. She deserved her chance to start. She had a phenomenal tournament. The three in the midfield, Julia Ertz being captain, I was very happy for her. Lindsey Horan starting, Roosevelt starting, Crystal Dunn, Abby Dahlkemper, Ali Krieger, and Emily Sonnett on the back line. Becky Sauerbrunn was carrying a minor injury, so they didn't want to aggravate it, so Ali Krieger stepped in for her. And I'm glad Emily Sonnett got to start because she's had a very good tournament. And overall, I'm not surprised about this lineup, and I'm not mad about it either. And I think Vlatko has done a very good job rotating his lineup and being able to put different players on the field and give them as many opportunities as he can. Hello, I just wanted to pop on real quick to apologize for the lack of clips that I would normally use in my videos. So for today, the format's going to be a little bit different. Although I am going to be talking about the players and how I thought they played, I'm not going to be including as many specific examples because I can't get any. The game is actually not even available to be rewatched anywhere on the internet that I know of. So if you know of a way to watch the game, please let me know down below. I will go back and redo this video. So unfortunately, I do not have access to the full game, but I was able to rewatch it because I have it recorded on my TV. I just have no idea how to get that recording from my TV to my computer because I don't think that I can do that with my specific television, but I know that there are some of y'all who watch my videos because you missed the game. So if that's the case, I do apologize. This isn't going to be heavily clip related. I'm just going to be more talking about like my opinions and what I think about the game and the tournament overall. So I just wanted to give you a heads up about the footage I'm about to show you. So Lynn Williams had a lot of opportunities in the first half, I noticed, to go forward and to drive at the back line. And I felt like she held onto the ball a little too long in that situation. Same with this one here. I felt like she could have tried to shoot it one time right there, or maybe even pulled it back to try to play it to Lindsey Horan. And I think with more experience, she'll gain the confidence to be like, okay, this is what I need to do. Lindsey Horan wins the ball, plays a Christen Press, and just watch. I literally almost shit my pants watching that. That was the best thing I've ever seen in my life. If that would have gone in, oh Lord. And then Lynn Williams wins the ball from the Canadian defender who makes a bad pass and is able to find the upper corner. That was a fantastic shot. Again, Lynn Williams heads the ball down to Lindsey Horan, who takes a phenomenal first touch around her defender and places it in the bottom corner. And then again, Lynn Williams drives forward at the back line and slots in Pino, who scores. This was, in my opinion, the best game she played this entire tournament. The first half, I felt like even though she had her opportunities that she wasn't able to put away, she was a powerhouse off of the ball. She was pressing, she was, forcing defenders to play on the outside. She created so much havoc off the ball, which is what you want, which is what I feel like Carly brings to the field. But with Lynn, she actually brings that type of pace and that, I guess, a little bit more creativity and youth. I think Lynn is used to playing against the NWSL defenders, and when you go against international competition, you're playing against two defenders who, for Canada, actually play in Europe. Kadisha Buchanan plays for Lyon and Ashley Lawrence plays for PSG. They're phenomenal defenders, obviously, and so I think in the first half she struggled a lot against them to get the ball to turn, to face up, and to go at these defenders. Not only because they are quality defenders and they know how to, force her to go back and not allow her to turn on them, but I think that that's something that Lynn needs to work on because we beat Canada 3-0. When we play against top teams like in the She Believes Cup coming up, we're going to play Japan, England, and Spain, I believe. Those teams are going to be good. So that's something that I think she needs to work on. I think the second half, she finally, after all of her work she put in this tournament, I think it paid off. The entire game, I felt like she had been incredibly active in her attack and in her press, and it ended up working out perfectly for her. The Canadian defender tried to pass the ball and she ended up intercepting it, and she took I think maybe one touch and then just striked it right into the upper 90. In my opinion, that was the best goal I think I've seen Lynn Williams score in a long time. So props to her. That was phenomenal. And not only was that goal great, it completely changed the energy of the game. My only concern about Lynn and the goal that she scored was that she didn't create that opportunity. Now, she was poaching around, that's a goal scorer's goal for sure, but she didn't create that chance. If that defender would have never misplayed that, who knows if she would have scored. And that's not to take away her goal. That's not to, downplay the phenomenal shot she had. But I think when you look at other players on the field, not only will they score that goal, but they will also create their own opportunities. So I think going forward, and especially going into the league this year, that should be a big goal for her, is to create her opportunities. Not to mention she had an assist, which was very good. Sam played a lofting ball over top. Lynn headed it, and Lindsey Horan took a phenomenal first touch and just placed it in the bottom corner. So I think other than that, she had a really great game. This was the best game I've seen her play on the national level, and I'm looking forward to see how she develops under Vlatko, because clearly Vlatko really values her or sees something in her that Jill Ellis clearly didn't see. I like that about Vlatko. He's taking a chance with her, and as much as Lynn Williams has bothered me in the past with her international play, if you watch her in the league, when she gets the ball, she scores. She scores all the time. I think she has something like 50 goals and 100 caps for North Carolina, which is phenomenal. But I think that it's going to be a really big challenge for her to convert that type of play from her league into the international level. So I'm looking forward to see what she does. She's a young player. She's 27. She has plenty of time to develop. And hopefully for her future's bright. Emily Sonnett. Honestly, this is the best game I have ever seen Emily Sonnett play on the international level. I felt under Jill Ellis that she didn't give Sonnett enough of a chance. I think for whatever reason, and don't even get me started on this, Jill really valued Abby Dahlkemper. And although I have my theories because she coached her at UCLA, Sonnett was never really given a chance to play her natural position under Jill Ellis, which makes no sense to me. She was the #1 draft pick in 2016, went to the Portland Thorns, played all through 2019 with the Thorns as a center back, and she was phenomenal for them. Literally one of the biggest pieces for the Thorns was Emily Sonnett. I think when she plays on the international level, Jill for a very long time has favored her as an outside back, which I think kind of prohibited her from being the player that we know her as and we see her as in the league, because she doesn't play that position. Not to say that you can't learn to play that position, but if you've ever played defense, being a center back and then being an outside back, two completely different roles. And you have to shift to two different mindsets. And although it doesn't seem like it on the outside, you have to focus on your space. You have to focus on being connected to your back line. You have to focus on going forward, when not to go forward, how to cut off the passing lanes, how to make sure to press so they don't play a ball over top. There's so many things you have to focus on. And as a center back, it's similar, but you have to play more of a defensive-minded sort of compact role where you're going to stay put, but you have to be feisty in your attack to win the ball. And I think Emily Sonnett for a few years kind of struggled to get her style of play kind of transition to an outside back. I went back and watched the game a second time, and I just watched her for the entire first half. Her passes were phenomenal. She had crosses that were actually whipped in and not lofted over the top. She had one pass where she completely switched the field, which alleviated the pressure on the right side and allowed Crystal Dunn to break free and to go up and press. Now, in the second half, for whatever reason, the referee thought that Emily Sonnett was just the dirtiest player in the world. I swear to God, Emily Sonnett could look at Janine Becky and she would be on the ground. Sonnett talked about needing to be more consistent, and I think this tournament really showcased her play and her consistency. And so I think for her future's bright if she's able to keep this form up. And I wish her the best at Orlando. She's been traded, and I'm very sad about that. Cue the sad violin music. Christen Press. Ever since Christen finally broke onto the national team, there's been talk about her not being consistent. She doesn't score against top teams. She doesn't show up against the top teams, yada, 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 yada. To be honest with you, that's completely stupid. I have a lot of other words, but I think stupid is more appropriate. What it boils down to is Jill Ellis didn't value her. That's all it boils down to. Because If she would have played for any other team, you know she would have gotten so many minutes. It's so funny seeing all these people who hated on Christen Press for years, Julie Foudy, have to like eat their words because she's good. You can't look at a player like that and say she's bad. And it's just so funny to me because you finally give her an opportunity consistently, and she scored 6 goals in 6 games. I don't know how much more consistent you want a player to be than that. I think Christen deserves to start every single game that she's healthy and available to play. She's proved herself through this game, and you can go back and look at the game against England when she scored her header goal. I mean, you don't just have a player like that come off of the bench and suddenly be spectacular. She's always been good. I need everybody to shut up about her because she's good. And she won the Golden Ball. Lindsey Horan, I think this tournament really showed the type of player that she is and what she brings to the field. She brings something that the other 4 players who are competing for this spot don't bring. She's a goal scorer because she used to be a forward. She's been converted to a midfielder, and she's brought that aspect of her game with her. And I think when you watch her play, it's evident that she is a person who needs to be on the field all the time. She creates opportunities, not only for herself, but for her teammates. Lindsey Horan had 11 duels. That is the most out of anybody on either team. She had 5 shots, 2 on target, and a 40% shooting accuracy, so she had the most shots on the team for this game. I think she's secured her position, or should have secured it with her play throughout this tournament, and honestly right now, between Rose and Sam Ewis, is my opinion, I think is what's the 3rd spot is up for grabs, because I think JJ is just a player you can never not have on the field. And Lindsey Horan, in my opinion, after this tournament, has proven herself that she needs to start in the next games. I think that she's established herself as a goal-scoring midfielder who is great at distributing the ball, is solid in the midfield, is going to do everything she can to win the ball back for her team, and she's just a powerhouse on the field. Jessica McDonald. I got a comment on one of my videos, and thank you for your comment, by the way. And basically they asked, who do I think, established themselves on this roster, and who do I think would be cut? And although I don't have a definite answer for people who would get cut, I think what we've seen through Jessica McDonald's play is that she's definitely not a player who I can see having a strong future with this team. Now, I think she might make the Olympic roster as an alternate, so I think maybe short term, yes, she might make the Olympic roster, but I don't think long term she's going to be a part on this team. Again, if you compare her play to the 2 other forwards on the field, Christen and Lynn, it just doesn't compare. She had a few crosses, but overall she struggled to get past Ashley Lawrence on the right side of the field. And she struggled to make solid crosses and solid passes, and she didn't look sharp, she didn't look crisp. I don't really see her potential on this team, and now I could be wrong. For all I know, next game she could be phenomenal, but I think that this tournament definitely didn't prove anything positive for her or strengthen her case that she needs to be on this roster. For my final thoughts, I just kind of wanted to talk about this tournament as a whole. First of all, he said in an interview, and I'll put the clip in, but he wants his team to be aggressive, play pretty soccer, and I don't remember the 3rd one.
What kind of soccer do you want to play? How would you describe the game that you want to coach, and has your team played that?
I mean, if I have to describe it in 3 words, it would be attractive, attacking, and aggressive soccer. When I say aggressive, I mean both ways, in possession and out of possession.
And I think that you saw glimpses of that. He acknowledged that against Canada in the first half they lost for about 20 minutes of the game. They didn't have the possession they had. They lost momentum. They lost the energy. Canada was actually putting them under pressure. And again, I think if Canada was able to continue that, the game would have been completely different, but the United States was able to build out of that. Vlatko did a great job at rotating players throughout this tournament and giving everybody equal minutes. My only complaint would be Andi Sullivan didn't really get a solid opportunity to prove herself. She played against Panama, I don't remember, in the group stage, and she didn't necessarily play bad. She got full 90 minutes, but she didn't, in my opinion, look solid enough to be a strong contester for those 3 midfield spots. I mean, you have 4 players who I feel like Vlatko has really locked down as his 4 options he wants to use, and everybody else is just kind of up in the air. So I think for her, if she wants to break into this team, she's going to need to bring something different that the other 4 players don't bring. Overall, I think this tournament was a good showcase from this team. I think we're under new management. We have a new coach. We have new ideas, new styles of play, new players. You know, we're in a completely different phase, and people need to drop the idea of what the team was before, because that's never gonna be back. Like, sorry to break it to you, but we have a new coach, new system, and we're focusing on the Olympics now. Whatever happened in the past happened, and we can reflect back on that, but I don't think that that's going to dictate the way we play in the future, obviously. Overall, those are just my general thoughts. I don't necessarily have anything incredibly positive to say or incredibly negative to say, because this tournament didn't really challenge the United States. They didn't even concede a goal this entire tournament. I'm going to be making more videos in the future about the United States women's national team and the NWSL, so if you're interested about that, stick around, subscribe, like, comment, because I'll respond. I'll let you know what I think. Goodbye.